Hello everyone, I'm Taylor Pampico. Today's video will be episode 5 of Gun Shop Tales. And this episode will entail the people I got to meet along the way. Now, unlike traditional retail, like a grocery store for instance, where people go in, get what they need, they cash out, and then they go about their merry way, at a gun store, it's quite a bit different. Now, while there are some simulators, of course, people do come in, they buy what they need, and they go about their merry way as well, you also have regular customers who just come in to just pass the time. At the original location of the store I used to work at, we had one guy who came in on a daily basis, always looking for old rifles. And now when I say older rifles, I'm not talking about classical Colt rifles. This obviously is not a Colt. No, I'm talking World War II era and older. Basically, something like this was far too new for him. If I remember correctly, he had around 50 Car 98s, at least 30 1903 Springfields in various configurations. I think he had about a dozen M1 carbines. He had upwards of about, I think, 10 M1 Garands, or Garand, however you want to pronounce it. I think he had around 20 Mosin Nagants, one SVT, not the SVD, but the SVT rifle. Some I forgot to mention were lever and pump action Winchester rifles from the late 1800s, Winchester shotguns, Lee Enfield rifles, and Schmidt-Rubin rifles. He also had a Winchester 1887 lever action 10-gauge shotgun, not in the same configuration that Schwarzenegger used in Terminator 2 Judgment Day. This had the stock and longer barrel. I was looking at that one, but it definitely was not safe to shoot, and trying to find 10-gauge shells, I don't know where I could find them.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I'm kind of retarded.
I probably could have found shells online for it, but considering what the price of the shotgun was going for, and being I didn't really know much about the 1887, I just decided to pass on it. And unfortunately, the only reason I know he had all these firearms is because he did pass away, and the family sold his collection of firearms to the store I worked at. Now, moving on from that, another man I got to meet, this guy, he had some amazing stories. And when I say amazing, I mean they were pretty much unbelievable. For instance, one day he was telling me that he had the same rifle that killed Kennedy. I'm like, okay, the Carcano. He nods his head and goes, yeah, 1903 Springfield. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I want to see where this story is going. Well, as he continues on, he remembers seeing on the TV Lee Harvey Oswald step off the curb. Yes, apparently he was not in the book Suppository.
And do you know how far away he was?
Sir, it was pretty far from that book suppository building, sir.
All right, knock it off.
He was on the curb, steps off of it, and then fires from the hip with a 1903 Springfield rifle. The round goes through the windshield of his car, striking Kennedy in the head, obviously. And then, instead of the car speeding off, the car pulls off to the side of the road. Apparently then Jacqueline Kennedy wraps her husband's head, and then they decide to fix the windshield. I kid you not. Then of course after he leaves, I go and tell one of the guys I worked with for a very long time, and he knew this customer. I tell him about the story, and he's like, yeah, last time that was about Martin Luther King Jr. though. There was another time he told me that story, but instead of a 1903 Springfield, it was a Thompson Center Contender, which, from what I understand, that gun didn't exist at that time. I do believe he also told me that story a few other times, and there were other details which changed. But the thing is, you could hook that man up to a lie detector test, and he would pass. What was interesting about that man is, he only liked large caliber rifles. So from what I was told, he did own a 50 caliber rifle, a 375 H&H mag, a 458 lot. So in other words, he didn't own anything like this because there wasn't enough recoil. So keep in mind, of all the people I got to meet who were very interesting, that's just 2 of them. So as time goes on, and if I decide to continue Gun Shop Tales, I will definitely tell more stories regarding different people I got to meet and some of the stories they told me. Because if you think that one story regarding the JFK assassination is interesting, you should hear some of the other stories he told me. Well, that was episode 5 of Gun Shop Tales. Well, at least I think it was episode 5. Well, if you enjoyed it, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell icon to be notified when I upload new content. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and have a good day. See ya!